What is the frequency of workouts that you could give us kind of across the board? What's too many? What's too few?
Now, you could see results training just 1 day a week.
The goal of going into the gym to train is foremost to create a stimulus that you need to adapt to so that the muscle grows and gets stronger.
There's a lot of ways to do things. My system that I've had success with is kind of like focused on gaining strength over time so that you don't require so many sets. The main thing is, are you progressively overloading the muscles? Are you putting more tension on the muscles over time? Take notes, have a logbook or an app that keeps track of your progress, and you have a goal in mind. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. And that's how people grow.
I and many other people are super interested in how they can resistance train best. Let's admit it, most people who do some resistance training probably want some hypertrophy, some muscle growth, perhaps not in their entire body, some people do, but in specific body parts. They want to grow bigger arms, they want to grow bigger glutes. So let's start off with the basics. What is the frequency of workouts that you could give us kind of across the board? What's too many? What's too few?
Yep. So I would say 2 times a week full body would be like the minimum. Now, you could see results training just 1 day a week. Like if you had a coach that knew what they were doing, you could get good results just lifting weights 1 day a week. It would be a brutal day, but it would be full body. You'd hit mostly, the big basic multi-joint movements. But if you stuck to that, you would see a lot of gains, and you could keep seeing gains for, theoretically an entire year or two. If you want to maximize your gains, you need to hit a muscle probably twice a week. There's some evidence that, maybe 3 times a week is best, but that's hard to recover from. But I would say for the majority of listeners who are eager to get started, you get so much of your results from the first set. The first set you do.
The first work set.
The first working set you do. Adding more volume, adding more frequency, it's not linear.
So it sounds like if somebody's relatively new to resistance training, like they're in their first year of resistance training, the lower limit, given that most people don't have a coach and are probably not willing to put in the kind of intensity for a whole body workout to just train once per week, seems like twice per week, hitting each body part twice per week. So whole body twice per week. How many sets do you recommend per exercise after a sufficient warm-up?
In my online programs, I always recommend 3 sets. When I train people in real life, it's typically 2 sets. But I would say most of the world does 4 sets. Most people just generically do 4 sets per exercise. It's just kind of and most people do bro splits. They do body part splits. Like what the most of the world does isn't always what's best. And there's nothing wrong with doing 4 sets. It's just that people aren't focused. They just kind of go through the motions. You'll say, hey, Andrew, what's your workout? And if you go, well, I do, bench press, I do 135 for 15, and then I do 185 for 12, and then I do 205 for 8, and then 225 for 5. Well, that's what you do every week? Then why would you grow? Why would you adapt? Why would you see results from that? So a lot of people just go through the motions. When you have a plan and you're utilizing progressive overload, the main thing is, are you progressively overloading the muscles? Are you putting more tension on the muscles over time? And that's how people grow. But if your program is working, then you're getting stronger over time. You don't need 4 sets to do that. You need to take notes, have a logbook or an app that keeps track of your progress, and you have a goal in mind. There's a lot of ways to do things, and every coach has their own system. My system that I've had success with is kind of like focused on gaining strength over time so that you don't require so many sets. In fact, I like my clients training 3 times per week. Full body 3 times per week.
Full body 3 times per week.
Or LULUL, lower, upper, lower, upper, lower.
With a rest day in between?
No, Monday through Friday, lower, upper, lower, upper. Take Saturday and Sunday off. Keep in mind, 74% of my followers are women. I'm the glute guy. So most of my followers are women. So women and men have different, they can train the same way for their gains. There's a lot of kind of experts coming out now saying women and men need to train totally differently. They don't need to train differently as per like the variables and stuff. The thing is they have different goals. A lot of women want their glutes. They prioritize lower body more than whereas men want more upper body. So then our exercise selection is going to differ and our splits are going to differ. If we do split it up, they want typically 3 lower body days and 2 upper body days, whereas men would want probably the opposite, 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days. Many roads can lead to Rome, but you do need to make sure that you're gaining strength over time if you want a muscle to substantially change. But you can't have that increase, that PR can't come at the expense of decreased range of motion or sloppy form. That's probably the number one tenet of strength training is progressive overload, and the listeners need to understand that, because otherwise you're just going to be spinning your wheels. Now, that's not to say you can't make gains not utilizing progressive overload. In fact, we talked about this when we were working out yesterday, how to use the mind-muscle connection. But ultimately, how do you know you're placing increasing demands on the muscle over time? Your barometer should be like, the loads and the sets and reps that you're doing.
I just want to take a slight step back and highlight a couple of things that you said and maybe clarify a few of them for myself and for the listeners. The goal of going into the gym to train is foremost to create a stimulus that you need to adapt to so that the muscle grows and gets stronger. In theory, one could do that by training the entire body once per week, but that would be a very taxing workout, probably requires a coach to do properly. And in general, most people are probably going to benefit from training 2 or 3 times per week minimum. It does seem to be the case lately that most of the papers, as I understand, point to every muscle should be trained twice per week, perhaps not as intensely in the 2 workouts, but at least twice per week. And you said 3 times per week is probably even more beneficial. I like this lower, upper, lower, upper, lower, 5 days per week format that you listed out. When I see that, I think training legs 3 times per week in the gym with weights and machines, etc., sounds like a lot. So my question is, for the 3 or even the 2 lower body workouts that men or women are doing, are they doing the same exercises in every one of those lower body workouts for the same muscle groups? And in addition to that, are they hitting quads 3 times a week or twice a week directly? Because many people can't recover, or at least the soreness doesn't go away in between workouts. So how are you splitting up lower body if somebody is training lower body 2 or 3 times per week?
Great question. So first of all, I want to mention, before steroids became a thing, the bodybuilders back then, if you can look up like Steve Reeves, Reg Park, John Grimek, they did 3 I think they all did 3 full body workouts a week. Or they trained mostly full body, but they'd hit muscles frequently. The thing is, now we have so many machines. They did mostly barbell training, and you know what I mean? They focused on the big basics, and they would repeat movements. The goal is gaining strength. So with every person, it's unique. And there's so many ways to do this. If I have some people deadlift hard twice a week, they might get back pain, even if they're using good form. What if they're really weak, have really weak hamstrings in isolation, and I start giving them seated leg curls and it transfers to their deadlift? The seated leg curls doesn't put stress on their low back. You get stronger by identifying weak links, and there's a lot of transfer between the different lifts. I don't believe you need to repeat the same movements all the time. And I also think you should switch it up every month. And that's one thing I've had a lot of success with.